Hello dear viewers, thank you for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. prime time newscast on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, tens of persons have been arrested within the framework of rising violence between groups of young persons in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, since several days now. The atmosphere has been tense in areas like Ndokoti and Deido here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. We'll be bringing to you updates and efforts of the administration to coil down the tensions in this edition of the news. Also in this edition of the primetime news, we will take you to Idiabato in the Bakassi Peninsula, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where we are going to show you the image of a school consumed by sea waters. And Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari promises extensive reforms amid protests against police brutality. Those were our top stories. The governor of the littoral region of Cameroon, Samuel Dieudonné Vahadiboa, and the other administrative authorities, notably those in the town of Douala, the country's economic capital, are now struggling with rising violence among young people in the town of Douala, and over 39 persons have been arrested amid rising violence and confrontations between young people in some parts of the town, including Dokoti and the Deido neighborhoods, where the atmosphere has been tense for several days today. And some of the persons arrested were said to have been in possession of arms. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
After the recent wave of violence provoked by a group of armed individuals in some neighborhoods in Douala, the administration of the littoral region wants to set the record straight. The governor of the littoral region, Samuel Dieudonné Vahadiboa, has briefed the press on the different attacks.
Some bandits occurred at the level of Ndokoti 5 or 6 days ago, and just rapping and making use of knife, wounding people and so on. But those bandits went through the road till the place called Ange Raphael.
The most recent of such attacks was in the Deido neighborhood in the Douala 1 subdivision, where violent confrontation ensued between the attackers and young people from the neighborhood.
Those thief people, how we can say them, came to Deido on Saturday. People were drinking beer here and there, but they went and picked phones, money, and using knife, even cutlasses. Now, as the forces came there, they went away. But we've got a new information that they are going to come the next day. It was yesterday. That's why all the population of Deido, with their chief, decided to stop this kind of action of these bandits.
Though no one was killed in the said attack that took place in Deido, the littoral governor urges the population to be vigilant and immediately report any violent attacks taking place in their neighborhoods.
There were no wounded person because we got information on time. Voila, all the dwellers to give information on time. When you are in a quarter, seeing some people behaving like that, give us the information on time and there will be catch.
In the course of the press briefing, the governor revealed that more than 39 armed criminals are presently at the New Bell Central Prison.
Deep into and in the report coming up next, for me, Armstrong Standard takes us to what happened yesterday in the Deido neighborhood. His report.
Deep into the night, in the heart of Douala, the economic capital city of Cameroon, men and women in the street, armed with machetes, knives, broken bottles, razor blades and other sharp objects, The warlike scene is in Daido in the Douala 1 subdivision, and the armed individuals are inhabitants of the area who came out in self-defense against Le Microbe, a notorious gang of armed young men of the underworld.
I am warning them not to ever try to attack Daido again. When you decide to attack Daido, just be ready for trouble. We came out to tell them and the government that we are Daido boys. No one dares Daido boys. We are more dangerous.
The group of armed young men, commonly referred to as Le Microbe by Douala City dwellers, invaded Daido at about 7:30 p.m. Sunday, October 11, 2020, sending city dwellers, traders and buyers running out of fear. They reportedly vandalized shops, supermarkets in Daido and Aqua North, and also caused businesses to end prematurely at the Rue de la Joie in Daido.
The government should keep peace in Douala. These are people they should handle. Let them not wait for peaceful protesters before coming out with their tear gas. We are tired. They don't come when we call them for interventions.
Unconfirmed sources see 5 of the vandals were caught and handed over to security elements by inhabitants of Daido. The attack in Daido has provoked an unending debate on the safety of persons and their goods in Douala, Cameroon. This wave of attack from Le Microbe began 3 days ago in Dokoti in the Douala 3 subdivision and at Cité Sig in the Douala 5 subdivision.
And Littoral Governor Samuel Dieudonné Vahadipo, other administrative authorities as well as traditional rulers are now battling to put an end to such manifestations of anger and violence among young people in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. The micro phenomenon is growing in some parts of the town and bringing with it enormous damage and disturbance to social peace. And speaking about this today in a press conference here in Cameroon's economic capital, Governor Samuel Dieudonné Vahadipo, as you heard earlier, urged the population to collaborate with the administration and security and defense forces to fight that ill in the country's society. And besides this, the governor also talked about a video that went viral recently on social media showing a certain Dr. Etoua Mebara Francois Xavier humiliating a parent who refused that her son should be vaccinated. The governor explained the importance of that vaccine for children of 0 to 5 years of age. Take a listen to Governor Samuel Dieudonné Vahadipo.
It's a school of Camp Berthaud. A lady came to tell the doctor, the medical doctor, to let the child free of vaccination, and they were just discussing, the medical doctor showing her that if that child is not vaccinated, it can be very dangerous for the other one that are taking vaccination, or vice versa. And today, as we came, we saw the lady who was just saying that she was not well informed, and she has also make the child be vaccinated. So all things are well now, and we are just appealing the parents to bring the children to school and to make them be vaccinated.
Now we're taking you to the Bakassi Peninsula in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, and there we're going to show you the deplorable image of some schools that have been eroded or better still consumed by sea waters. And the government secondary school in Idabato, Bakassi Peninsula, has been eroded, and of course the primary school has also been consumed by sea water. And there Derek Jato, a reporter in the Southwest region, brings to us the image of those schools in this report.
Disconnecting what was connecting students and pupils away from school.
This place, I've tolerated this place a lot. I've tolerated this place a lot. Every day is the same thing.
And the takeoff indicates that their effort have finally yielded fruit.
We have had a successful, very successful back to school. Like you can see from the images, we recorded close to 90%.
The battle against insecurity and COVID-19 has also been won here, but not this one. And they will not be winning anytime soon. We are in Edabatu subdivisional headquarters in the Bakassi Peninsula. The erosion has stopped the government secondary school from going on here in this subdivisional headquarters. In 2019, Equinoxe Television reported about the structure of this government secondary school.
November 2019, this is all that is left of government secondary school Edabatu 2 here in Bakassi Peninsula. The sea is threatening to take everything away.
Today, October 2020, there is nothing here. The sea has finally swallowed everything away. GSS Edabatu is gone, and the lone government primary school will soon go the same way. Reason why these pupils are begging on the Cameroon government to feel their pain and do something now.
Government is no longer where it is again. Water have destroyed all the place. Look at this side. Look at all this place, sir. Water have destroyed. See even our bench. Water, please, government, please come and protect us. Let us build another one again.
Today in Edabatu, this classroom is for 2 classes. As Shefu Joffrey, the head teacher of government primary school Edabatu, explains.
This class now accommodates 2 classes in one. One level, that's classes 3 and 4. They're all here with congestion.
And they want the Cameroon government to do one thing for Edabatu.
I'm pleading with the government to give us an embankment so that we can be out of this problem.
Mayor Etongo Efanga Edem, mayor of the Edabatu Council, says the entire island will be wiped off by the sea if rescue don't come now.
Rescue us! We are in danger. I am standing as a mayor and plead with the government to remove us from this danger.
The population on her part is helpless, as they can only prepare for the worst while hoping for the best.
Thank you, Derek Jato, for those images from Edabatu in the Bakassi Peninsula Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The 2020-2021 academic year for vocational training institutions started today in the Southwest region. The one of back to school for vocational training institutions was very timid. Derek Jato reports.
Vocational training centers open its doors today, Monday, October 12, 2020, for the new school year.
Today is the first day that school is reopening. That is Monday, the 12th of October 2020. We had prepared our COVID-19 kits. We have kept the classes clean and the staff, we had the staff meeting.
Orok Thomas Ayon, the Southwest Regional Delegate of Employment and Vocational Training, is on the field.
Our training year starts today. So I've been out since 9 o'clock monitoring to see how the centers have started and everything.
During the 2020 sector conference ahead of school resumption, he outlined the innovations and readiness of vocational training centers in his region.
We have to adapt vocational training to the needs of the society, to the needs of the environment. Vocational training that links with the labor market, with employers, that emphasizes more on job creation instead of job seeking. That is our main focus now.
Converging under the theme, vocational training within the new regulatory framework in the face of health challenges. Vocational training centers in the Southwest region were also hit by the war in the region.
The main challenge, especially from 2016, has been the inability of vocational training centers functioning, especially those found in the hard-hit areas due to the current socio-political crisis.
With vocational training calendar and guidance now available, much is therefore expected from these trainers. to build job-creating mindset, not job-seeking mindset, which seem to have no place in today's society.
The Rejato reporting there. And as the 2020-2021 academic year unfolds, many pupils and students who ought to be in school are still out of school. Many of them are internally displaced children who have been kicked out of their homes by violence in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, like these ones you're seeing in the Bonaberi Douala 4 subdivision. Many of them are still expecting help from men and women of goodwill, and even from the government, to help them go to school. And they were receiving some aid from members and officials of the Popular Action Party in collaboration with the Suivi Cameroon Survival Initiative put in place by the president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, CRM political party, Professor Maurice Kamto. And within the framework of this initiative, the members and officials of the Popular Action Party, led by the party's Secretary General Fabrice Lena, were helping or stretching a hand of help to these children and other internally displaced persons who are now seeking refuge in Bonaberi in the Douala 4 subdivision, many of them living in precarious and very difficult conditions. Take a listen to Fabrice Lena, one of the beneficiaries.
This is Cameroon Survivor Initiative, Suivi Cameroon. It's an initiative that was launched some time ago this year in March by Prof. Maurice Kamto, and is being managed by Christian Penda Ikoka as ordinary citizens, not as leaders of political parties. They launched this because Cameroon was passing through difficult moments with the coronavirus, and as time unfolds, with the spectrum of the coalition that we form, we of the PAP gave our support, and we have been working as a team to see into it that we don't only bring political change in Cameroon, we are also concerned about the humanitarian situation of our brothers and sisters of the Northwest and Southwest that have been passing through distress for the past 4 years. It is in this light that we do not limit ourselves only in the coronavirus, but we went out to also extend the magnanimity of this initiative to the IDPs. This program was initiated some 1 month ago, and we have a team in the ground that we're collecting database on the vulnerability of IDP, the number of siblings, those that are going to school, those that are not going to school, under what we call IDP Rescue Network. So it made us to have a database of IDPs in Bonaberi. It made us to have database of IDPs in Gusso, in Etukebe, Yaoundé. So today, we are here today because we want to give some assistance to the IDPs.
We pray that God should bless this NGO, and then so that God should help them to replenish what they have given to us. That will go a long way to help our children, so that we, the NGO, will be happy, and we pray that this matter should come to an end so we can go back to our families.
Many of the internally displaced persons, notably women and girls, are now victims of rape and other forms of sexual abuse because of the difficult living conditions, exposing them to such risk and, of course, making them more vulnerable. And some of them are being violated sexually in different parts of the country. Rape, of course, is one of the ills growing and inflicting pain and sorrow on girls, women, and even little babies in the country, despite the outcry from women organizations, civil society organizations, human rights organizations. And in Konsamba, in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, an alleged rapist is now behind bars at the Konsamba police stations. Manjik and Gabriel reports.
It was a long night for the inhabitants of Sitevet neighborhood in Konsamba, in the Mongo Division of the littoral region. A 47-year-old man squatting with his brother's best friend allegedly raped the 6-year-old daughter of the man housing him. Minutes later, my 6-year-old child started crying And after we asked her on several occasions, she finally told us that Uncle had intercourse with her.
Il sort en pleurant. Je dis que c'est quoi? Il dit que non, c'est rien, c'est rien. Je la prends, je mets la main dans ma chambre. Il dit que dis-moi, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Qu'est-ce que tonton t'a fait? Il me dit que tonton l'a baisé.
The mother of little Kuala confirms to us that the alleged rapist behaved strange before the incident.
Parfois quand il rentre, il s'assoit au salon, je lui sais à manger.
Sometimes when he returns, he stops over in the parlor to eat. But surprisingly, when he returned today, he went straight away into his room and my little kid followed him since they used to play games on his phone. With disappointment, residents of Sitevet pounced on the 47-year-old man before transporting him to the 3rd District Police Station. Unfortunately, security forces refused to take charge of him due to the injuries he has sustained from the beatings given to him by the population. It was finally security officers at the Central Police Station in Konsamba that took charge of the man, while little Kuala was also taken to the hospital for checkup.
The Douala City Council is now stepping up efforts to save the country's economic capital from floods and other problems related to bad roads across the town. And this is a problem that has been permanent, that has become more or less hard, not just too difficult to crack even for administrative and municipal authorities. The city council is now enhancing efforts to get the town rid of floods and bad roads by clearing drainage patterns and rehabilitating some damaged sections of the road network in the town. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
Many of the drainage canals and streams in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, are filled with plastic waste. After having identified indiscriminate waste disposal as a major cause of floods, the Douala City Council is on the field to clear the mess.
Ici c'est le pont Phoning.
This is Phoning drainage pattern. Grass has invaded the other side of the bridge such that it is no longer useful. I am happy with the work ongoing here.
Donc je suis content du travail de séchage.
The bulldozer is cleaning the way for a smooth flow of water.
Il est question pour nous d'agrandir les cours d'eau.
The waterways have to be enlarged, rid of garbage and sediments to enable water to flow normally in a bid to avoid floods.
Pour pouvoir éviter les inondations.
The Douala City Council has instructed the population to respect a stated distance from the drainage patterns while constructing their houses.
De chaque côté du drain, 7 mètres de chaque côté, il ne doit pas avoir de construction.
Houses are not supposed to be constructed within 7 meters on both sides of the drainage canals. There can be resistance because people can never be happy to see their houses destroyed, but they have seen the damage caused by the floods. All houses along the waterways have to be demolished.
Toutes les constructions qui sont sur l'emprise du drain soient systématiquement détruites.
This is what will happen in Banya and Denver in the Douala 5 and Bobongo, Pont Noir in the Douala 3 subdivisions. It is part of Mayor Roger Mbasadine's emergency plan to save Douala from floods, bad roads and absence of street lights in several parts of the town.
Les uns les autres ont pu assister à un début d'amélioration de l'éclairage public, mais il était tellement abîmé que
the street lights were badly damaged to the extent that it would take a little more time to rehabilitate. We are rehabilitating some critical sections of the road network at the Ido roundabout, Nebopi Market and other parts of town.
Nous avons bouché des trous un peu partout dans la ville.
Roger Mbassadine is urging the population to collaborate more with the city council and to be more responsible for the success of the drive to a better city in the nearest future.
Cameroon's Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Diangote, is in the town of Douala ahead of the inauguration of a new dredger, of a new combined dredger and excavator at the Douala seaport. A dredger is a vessel which is which has as a major component a special machine that is used to increase the size of harbors, rivers, and canals. The dredging vessel acquired by the Douala Port Authority will be inaugurated tomorrow by Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Jangote. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has promised extensive reforms amid rising protests against police brutality in the country. He also promised justice for victims of police brutality or abuse and an investigation into the death of a protester in Oyo State. Take a listen to President Muhammadu Buhari.
Genuine concerns and agitations by Nigerians about the excessive use of force and, in some cases, extrajudicial killings and wrongful conduct by men of the Nigerian police force. The disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reform in order to ensure that the primary duty of the police and other law enforcement agencies remains the protection of lives and livelihoods of our people. We will also ensure that all those responsible for misconduct or wrongful acts are brought to justice. We also deeply regret the loss of life of the young man in Oyo State during the recent demonstrations. I have directed that the circumstances of his death should be thoroughly investigated. Meanwhile, it is important to recognize that the vast majority of men and women of the police force are hardworking and diligent in performing their duties. The few bad eggs should not be allowed to tarnish the image and reputation of the force.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, earlier protesters in the Federal Republic of Nigeria expressed disbelief to the announcement that a police unit widely accused of brutality has been disbanded. They had called for the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, the SARS, to be broken up, but they are unhappy that its officials or officers are being deployed or redeployed to other units rather than being disciplined. Anti-SARS protesters spread to Europe and Canada. The protest spread to Europe and Canada after reports of unlawful arrest, torture, and shootings. Demonstrations have entered the fourth day, with protesters barricading a major road in the commercial hub of Lagos and others gathering close to the city's main airport. In a statement, Nigeria's police chief Mohammed Adamu said allegations of abuse will be investigated by a committee including civil society members, yet many are concerned at suspected wrongdoers continuing to serve in the force in the meantime, and it is unclear whether any officer will be prosecuted for past abuses. Those who are skeptical also point to the fact that this is the fourth time in many years that promises have been made to disband or reform the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. And this is where we end the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Thank you for joining us in Talking Points. Today we are receiving a politician, the Secretary General of the Popular Action Party, Fabrice Lena. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Sir Babila. I want to appreciate you for inviting me once more after a while, a break from media outings.
All right, we begin with the last information that we heard in this newscast, the anti-police brutality protests in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. People taking to the street compelling the administration to disband a police force or a police unit noted for brutality. the anti-robbery squad. What's your take on that protest?
Yeah, I think I will first of all appreciate the government of Nigeria for being honest to accept the excesses of the police by first of all acknowledging that the excesses of the police are going to be investigated, and secondly by giving out procedures of disbanding the SARS, and the right of manifestation is a fundamental human right of every citizen around the world, and no country should be an exception. Nigeria government is giving an example to Cameroon government to follow, because in our own country, when manifestations are called upon or are announced, the first thing is that the government will say citizens are calling for insurrection to overthrow state institutions, whereas they are simply asking for reforms in some sectors of the country, of the public service that is not working properly. And I think that is a good way to go. And I think that this is once more another example to Central Africa from West Africa, because most West African countries are so advanced in managing protest between the government and the citizens, and that is a good step for reforms to take place, especially in old regimes.
The authorities in Cameroon often see insurrection and unlawful, what they consider as unlawful acts, in the idea of wanting to kick out the president of the republic from to the Unity Palace, wanting to kick out the prime minister from the Star Building, asking the entire government to leave. This is where there's usually a problem.
Well, this is because the regime in place in Cameroon is one that had dragged the country from prosperity to rather backwardness, economic backwardness, political crisis, cultural tensions. So if a country is not moving the citizens forward, is not moving infrastructural developments forward, it is the right of the citizens that constitute the masses of the population who has decided to give part of their rights to those who are in leadership to manage them and give them in turn those things that they desire after giving them their own, surrendering part of their own rights to them. So if these citizens discover that these people are unable to manage the resources, to manage the institutions the way it is supposed to be, the way it is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic, the way it is enshrined into charters that the country and these authorities have ratified, then it is the responsibility for the citizens to say, you people can't do the job and you should better leave. The president of the country of Cameroon, President Paul Biya, is an absentee president. This is an issue that prompted up in Nigeria. We saw the president Muhammad Buhari came up to address the population to say, these are the measures we are going to take. And when the citizens listen to their own president, they feel somehow being governed by someone. But in Cameroon, what will happen is that the Ministry of Communication will come and say his own whatever thing he has to say. The Ministry of Territorial Administration will come and say whatever thing he has to say, and then we'll see, we'll go to defense, and then it will go to the secretary at the presidency. It's like we are being governed by a system that has been put in place by a president who is not there. And that is the problem.
But all of them are speaking on behalf of the head of state, and that is why they will always say on high instructions of the head of state. So the head of state is giving instructions. Does that make him absent?
The high instruction system is what is not appropriate in a democratic regime. Either we are in a democracy or a monarchy. We should not say we are in a democracy and then the system of governance is absolute dictatorship, absolute monarchy, where the president is a king sitting somewhere in a palace and giving instructions to notables or some stooges to defend or speak on behalf of the government. He has to address certain burning issues, especially at these moments of crisis, not only political crisis, numerous crises that this country is facing. We are experiencing as the country is shrinking, the country is falling in all aspects of its public services and administration. So it is but normal that the citizens should rise up, as myself and others, to say no to such a form of governance in the 21st century. If they are unable to lead the country properly, they have to resign.
The President of the Republic has spoken to Cameroonians about the Anglophone crisis and even about the Boko Haram on some few occasions. And will he be? Are you saying that?
What has he said? What has he said? The issue is not even to speak regularly, but to come out with prescriptions that are appropriate to the problems that are being posed. Most often in Cameroon, when citizens come up with a problem, the government brings its own solution that deems necessary for that problem, which has no concordance. They have nothing in common. That is the issue. Since 2016 till today, none of the speeches of the President of the Republic of Cameroon had appropriately address the problem of the southern Cameroon, which include the form of state of this country, which include the root cause, the Anglo-Saxon system of education and the legal system. All other measures that have been taken under education sector or the legal sector are cosmetic because they are not yielding any fruit, and we see that the response is continuous brutality. It is continuous escalation of violence on daily basis. So what is the effect of what they are saying?
His close aides will tell you that the strategy of the President of the Republic has been succeeding to a large extent because they think that is some sort of a return to normalcy in several parts of the two Anglophone regions and other problems affecting the nation. Now, you indicated that when things are not moving right, the people have the right to take to the streets and express their grievances, their disappointment with the government. And when this happens in Cameroon, often than not, what we see in neighboring Nigeria is what happens here in Cameroon. Police brutality is equally in Cameroon. So what can Cameroonians and even the government learn from what is happening in Nigeria?
I will first of all want to speak to Cameroonians first of all. You know, Cameroonians are unnecessarily afraid of something that is not there, afraid of uncertainty that is not going to break a whole 24 million of people against some individuals that they are not up to 1,000 that have decided to hold the country as their personal property. The President of the Republic is no Cameroonian than myself, than you, Mr. Babila. He is not a Cameroonian than any other person from all the peripheries of this country. That is what citizens of this country need to understand. And they are our employees. These people are our employees. They are not living on their personal wealth or whatsoever. They are living on the taxes of Cameroonians. They are supposed to give accountability for every action that they carry out. So when Cameroonians are afraid to air their mind to carry out actions of fundamental rights that they deserve, which is enshrined in the Constitution that they are supposed to protect, which is enshrined in charters of international laws that they are supposed to, that the country itself has ratified, one begins to wonder what kind of population will abandon its institution, its constitution, for some people to manipulate to suit their whims and caprices. It's appalling. For me, it's inconceivable of Cameroonian people. We should pass that level of thinking that Cameroon belongs to some people and they have to do with whatever thing they wish to do.
The water cannons are on the streets. The guns and everything are on the streets.
The guns, the water cannons are there because
telling them to face the water cannons?
They are there because the population had been under a spell or some form of intimidation that has caused psychological scar of fear, unnecessary fear. I call it unnecessary fear. Unnecessary fear because if we have 10,000 Cameroonians in the streets of Douala to ask the governor that please this situation of insecurity, like the young guys that I just saw from the news report parading in Daido of insecurity issues,
and so on.
These are consequences of unemployment. These are consequences of illicit drug consumptions. These are consequences of improper education. When you see the education where children are being taught some kind of violent issues at a very tender age in our program, what do we expect them to become when there is no follow-up of children at the level of the house and in school? What do we expect? So all these, it is how people are being nurtured, how they are being groomed up to face their challenges. Sometimes people say the water cannons and whatsoever. Will you prefer to stay as a prisoner in your own country, in your own house, than to go to the prison because you have stood for your right and defended the people? I prefer to go to the prison because I have stood for my people and defended them. It is better to do so.
We wrap up this edition of Talking Points with IDPs today or yesterday. I think so. You were in Bonaberi Douala 4 subdivision meeting with some of the IDPs, many of them still living in very difficult conditions. What did they tell you?
The IDPs from the onset of this crisis had been the people that we are so concerned about them, because you know, when something is close to you, you understand the situation that people go through. So myself, I'm an IDP in Yaoundé, and I think that they are the most vulnerable people as of now in Cameroon, and they should be taken special care of. The initiative that we had in Douala yesterday was under the Cameroon Survivor Initiative, Suvi Cameroon, which was launched some time ago by Prof. Kamto and managed by Christian Peda Ikoka, and we supported them, and we have been working in that light to see into it that we don't limit ourselves to the fight against coronavirus, but to also check the vulnerable population of our country, that is people from the Anglophone crisis. And I'm telling you, subsequently we'll be also checking on those that have been displaced in the north because of the Boko Haram crisis. And we have to share compassionate and solidarity with our citizens. It is primordial, because humanitarian actions to politicians is like evangelism to men of God, and is very, very vital in time of crisis where elections cannot solve the problem of a country.
We have to share compassion and solidarity. Thanks, Fabrice Lena, Secretary General of the Popular Action Party, for joining us today.
It's always my pleasure to share my view with Cameroonians and to give my own opinion on nation building and constructing a better society for Cameroon and Africa and the world at large. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.
Équinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.